but as we can see from the footage,
Ooh, all right. A lot has happened since we last saw each other. Number one, the fight last night. Absolutely insane. Taylor versus Serrano. I don't know who you guys had. Put in the comments who you think won. It was a close fight. All I care about is having a trilogy. These two just need to have a trilogy. We need it for boxing in general, regardless of women's boxing, men's boxing. We need to have that trilogy. Other news, we had the Island Boys now join the YouTube boxing scene and show off their boxing skill. It looked like it was a cameo for Cameo, no pun intended.
Get on Cameo right now, book the Island Boys, link in the bio, Cameo, yeah, y'all already know what it is, yeah.
And then we had Bryce Hall sparring. I wanted to do a reaction video to that, but there wasn't a lot of content, so I'm just going to give you a quick breakdown of the Island Boys and Bryce Hall sparring, and then we'll talk about Deji's most recent previous trainer in his exposing video of Deji, the woes that they had during their training camp. I have not seen the whole video. I've only seen snippets and clips that were posted by the Bread Batch and Happy Punch. And like, it was actually tough to watch. You know, he posted sparring clips and they were associating what Deji had said leading up to his fight with Alex Wasabi, saying he was getting the better of sparring. And it just didn't make Deji look good. All right, so the Island Boys. I actually made a little reaction on my Instagram. So if you want to see a quick reaction, I put it on my Instagram. I will give you this. If you ever find yourself in a fight with an Island Boy or someone like an Island Boy, here's the game plan, okay? Feint, feint, feint. These people are going to overreact. They're super stiff, and you can see a lot of tension in the body. So you can literally just feint and then get out of the way, and they'd probably swing and knock their head on the ground and knock themselves out. But feint this type of fighter out, and then they'll show their entire hand, and then, you know, one punch should send them right to the canvas or to the concrete. But hopefully you never do find yourself in a fight with someone like that. Bryce Hall sparring. He sparred with people who are related to the Vargas family. I don't know the exact relation. I know one of them was his son because it said junior, so I'm assuming it's his son. But overall, I liked what I saw. It was very controlled sparring. There wasn't, you know, it wasn't super intense. There was no adrenaline really. It was very much a technical spar that Bryce was doing for a video. But he did show some good things in there. Some catch and shoot, some counter punching. It looked like he was boxing, not just going out there trying to take off somebody's head or just, you know, moving around a ring and punching, which is most common with someone who's new in boxing. So it looked like he was trying to box and he's learning and he's training with people who are very experienced. So that's a good sign. One thing that we tend to say a lot as trainers is keep your hands up. Now, people who are new, they keep their hands up like this. What you get is a lot of tension in the shoulders because the elbows flare out because you just literally pick your hands up. So your shoulders end up being tense and it's hard to punch from here, especially in boxing like this. And the elbows tend to flare out because it just doesn't feel natural. So what I tend to say is to keep your elbows in. And I think someone like Bryce, he tends to keep his hands super high, which is, you know, a high guard. I mean, you can do that in boxing, but typically you'll see guys keep it super tight. And what they're doing is they're trying to keep their elbows in and they'll drop their chin so that the hands still end up staying high, but you're still in a position where you can still punch, right? If your hands are up here and your head is up, then it's hard. You have to drop them to punch. And, you know, then your head comes up and you're getting this kind of swinging motion and you get into a lot of trouble there. So he's definitely someone who likes to fight. He's got the attitude of a fighter. Hey, listen, I got no beef, man. Hit me up. Let's do some training together. I'm down to train. We don't need to like spar or anything. But yeah, we can exchange ideas and, you know, talk about what it's like to be new into boxing and maybe spar. Nice technical spar like you did there. That'd be fun. Exposing video of Deji from his ex-trainer.
Hi there, my name's Solomon. I previously trained Deji. Releasing this video to kind of touch on a few things that happened throughout camp and my experiences that I had training Deji. I was contacted by people within Showstar to potentially train Deji. I didn't really know who he was at the time.
This didn't happen technically organically from Deji. The camp was started from Showstar. So Showstar reached out to Deji and this trainer for them to connect.
He was supposed to start camp around that time. It was very sporadic at the start. We didn't really get going. Him having COVID.
All right off the rip, the guy seems really genuine. He's not like trying to badmouth him off, you know, from the beginning. He's not trying to attack him, you know, so to speak. It looks like he's just a guy trying to defend himself and his name.
Admittedly, we had quite a long camp and he did come to myself underweight. which was impressive.
So he said he came to the trainer underweight, which he was impressed by. So it looked like he was already training, already getting in shape. You know, from the Vinny fight, Vinny Hacker, it seemed as though Deji did train, right? He did improve his physical shape, his fitness, because that was the issue with Vinny Hacker. So it looks like he already made some progress before coming to training, but again, still having some of the same issues he's acknowledging in terms of showing up in training.
Camp really didn't get going. There was a number of occasions where I had to kind of use different approaches, but I tried explaining to him that with boxing, you got to take it seriously.
So clearly, as Deji's trainer, he wasn't getting through to him, and Deji wasn't responding to him very well. Didn't have a great connection, and we know that Deji has had challenges in the past, so there's a lot for him to overcome in camp, and he can be difficult and challenging to work with because Deji has acknowledged that he has a lot of trouble with the training and the intensity of the training. So you're going to have a really good connection with him to get him to train, because he's not someone who has been self-motivated as much, right? He's someone who needs that kick in the pants, right? We all need that, but he's acknowledged himself that's what he needs.
But Deji said that he felt like he wasn't getting pushed and he was needing someone that would really go in on him, because when he's in the deep end is when he learns. Now, we agreed. I said, that's fine, I can get more professionals in, which I did. I had people on standby coming in for the next training session. Following on from the conversation on the phone, everyone seemed quite happy.
Interesting. So he had a call, and Deji acknowledges that he needs to be pushed, acknowledges that where he learned is in the deep end, so he doesn't want people to be nice to him. But also his trainer is saying that he felt like Deji wasn't working as hard as he should be. Interesting.
Like, the thing is, what I needed to be pushed. I needed to get those voices in my head saying quit so I can overcome them. That's what I needed. And with my previous camp with Solomon, no offense to Solomon, like, he's amazing. Yeah, but I wasn't getting that like I am with Daly.
Yeah, so that probably was the clip that caused him to be quite feel disrespected.
The first sparring partner he was getting the better of. It's kind of disrespectful again to one of my students. Riyadh was kind of offended by it. When I looked back at the video and watched it for myself, it made me think why Deji couldn't just be honest with the whole situation, because it happened. So I have some footage here.
So I'm interested to hear Deji's point of view. This all happened in the face-off. You know, you're trying to get in your opponent's head, so I don't know if Deji was just, saying things, because you know that if you're going to say things publicly, it's not that hard to like fact check them.
I asked Deji to kind of have his hands up, wanted him to walk forward to put the pressure on the fighter, also to cut the ring off at times, because Alex being a taller man with a higher reach, if you're going to go back against him, you're going to be walking onto the end of his punches all the time. So we were trying to practice. Also, Deji has a tendency to dip at the waist, kind of like a Pernell Whitaker style, which is a great thing. It's a natural ability that he has, and I wouldn't want to take it away from him.
So in this clip so far, Deji looks like he's doing pretty well. In what Deji said, he's not being pushed, you can see that this sparring partner isn't really throwing big bombs at him. But if the goal of the sparring is to get Deji to push forward and cut off the ring and use volume and use pressure, maybe that's what they're doing, more of a technical spar than just an all-out spar.
So in the face-off video with Alex, Deji said that Riyadh was an easy sparring partner.
I was getting the better of my sparring partner already.
But as we can see from the footage...
Okay, now we're getting real. Yikes. I mean, hey, if you're going to say that, you can tell that the sparring partner was also being quite controlled. Deji, now you have to go back and spar this guy now. That's got to be like the thing. Now you got to go back, put your gloves on, do some more training, and spar this guy and get your rematch and get some redemption here.
He's having some trouble there. Time. Hold her up.
That's just disrespectful, man. This is only happening because Deji had said that, and they feel disrespected. So they're kind of responding with the same energy that you would speak, and you can't knock them for that.
I'm knocking. Yeah, up.
Bro.
Being an easy sparring partner? I don't think so, to be honest. I think it was tough.
You can see him right now. He's shaking his leg. He know the editor is putting that in there. He's like, you know what? He's been very respectful. He hasn't been, dirty, so to speak, in anything he's been saying.
You can only really push your levels up as much as the fighter has. So K was going to the ability.
I remember watching this part and thinking, oh, this is not good. Just like knowing that the trainer is talking about it and then had this footage, because this is what we call the deep end. He's gotten to the point of exhaustion. There wasn't any punches landed. They were just clinching. You could tell that Deji's exhausted. So
the likes of a K Prosper, who is a seasoned veteran in the game. He's had a lot of fights. He's a very strong, fit fighter, very skilled fighter. You're not going to learn a lot going in the ring and then going at 100%. You learn by stepping up your level slowly and going through the motion.
He's speaking facts there. It's got to be an appropriate, progression. Okay, so I guess it's Deji's turn now to respond to this. However, he may respond to it on YouTube or on Twitter, or may just ignore it at all. And on my next video, I think I want to react to Eddie Hearn and Jake Paul, their banter. I've seen snippets. That's going to be a fun one. Looking forward to that. But leave a like and subscribe. Oos.